Have you ever met someone who seemed charming at first, but slowly began to drain your energy, distort your judgment, and lead you further from the life you were meant to live? Seneca once warned, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." But what happens when the very person you trust seeks not to elevate you, but to ensnare you? Throughout history, men have been undone not by great armies or external misfortunes, but by those closest to them, by the slow, calculated influence of a person who does not build, but destroys. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. And yet, some women weave a web not of wisdom, but of manipulation, seeking not to uplift, but to control. Many have asked, "How do I know if she is good for me?" The answer is simple: observe her nature. A woman who does not align with virtue will lead you away from it. She will cloud your reason, inflame your passions, and make you a slave to desires that are not your own. Epictetus taught that, curb your desire. Don't set your heart on so many things, and you will be free. A wise man does not ignore the signs. Today, we will uncover 7 traits of a destructive woman, not to condemn, but to illuminate. If you recognize these traits in someone close to you, take heed. If you find them in yourself, let this be a moment of reflection and change. True strength lies not in resisting the truth, but in facing it. Stay with me, and let's dive deep into the wisdom that can protect you from unnecessary suffering. Sign number 1. The woman who seeks attention but loses herself. Some people walk through life not in search of wisdom or virtue, but of validation. A woman who craves attention above all else is not interested in depth of character. She desires only to be seen, admired, and praised. But what does this endless hunger for recognition truly reveal? Not confidence, but emptiness. Seneca once said, "He who indulges in empty praise is either seeking something or is deceived himself." The same applies to those who crave it. External admiration is a poor substitute for inner worth. A woman who is ruled by the need to captivate others is often blind to the chains she forges for herself. She may dress, speak, and act in ways designed not for self-respect, but for seduction and control. But this is about more than appearance. It is about intent. A woman who constantly seeks attention, whether through her words, actions, or presence, reveals a restless and undisciplined mind. She places her value in the fleeting gaze of others rather than in her own cultivated strength. In today's world, where validation is traded like currency, modesty, both in dress and in character, is often dismissed. Many mistake it for repression, as if restraint were a weakness. But true modesty is not about denial. It is about mastery. The ability to regulate oneself rather than be controlled by external desires is not a limitation. It is power. A woman who does not need constant recognition possesses something rare: the ability to command respect without demanding it. A life built on external admiration is fragile. A woman who relies on attention will never be satisfied, and when the admiration fades, so will her sense of self. She will seek more, demand more, until the pursuit consumes her. Men who involve themselves with such a woman will find themselves trapped in the same cycle, chasing approval, constantly unsettled, never at peace. The wise man does not tether himself to someone who thrives on validation, for a restless spirit will only breed unrest in those close to it. To women, if these words strike a chord, do not recoil, reflect. The need for validation is a chain, but it is one that can be broken. A woman of true strength understands that her worth does not come from how many eyes are upon her, but from the depth of her character. Confidence is not about being seen. It is about knowing that even unseen, you are complete. Master yourself, and the world will follow. Sign number 2. Beware the woman who pretends at wisdom, but lacks integrity. There are those who speak of wisdom, yet their lives betray them. They adorn themselves with the language of righteousness, appearing disciplined, humble and moral, but beneath the surface, their actions tell another story. The Stoics warned of such people, those who speak of virtue, yet live without it. Seneca once said, "The spirit and the body should be treated rigorously, but it is shameful to treat the mind with indulgence while pretending it is noble." A woman who presents herself as virtuous while secretly embracing deceit and selfishness is far more dangerous than one who openly rejects virtue. She may speak of self-control, yet be ruled by impulse. She may preach wisdom, yet indulge in gossip and manipulation. She may carry the image of a woman of principle, yet her true character is revealed in the smallest moments, when no one is watching. This is why the wise do not judge by words alone, but by actions repeated over time. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." The same applies to discernment. Do not allow yourself to be deceived by those who imitate goodness, but do not live by it. Throughout history, false virtue has misled many. A woman who pretends at wisdom but lacks integrity does more harm than one who openly rejects it. She creates confusion, not only for herself, but for those around her. The man who does not see through the mask will find himself entangled in a web of contradictions, pulled between what is said and what is truly done. This is why the Stoics place such emphasis on self-examination. A person who is truly virtuous does not need to announce it. Their character speaks for itself. A woman of this nature will use morality as a tool, not as a way of life. She may appear generous, but only when it serves her image. She may speak of justice, but only when it benefits her position. In moments of conflict, she will manipulate rather than seek truth. And the greatest danger is this: she may even deceive herself, believing that the illusion she projects is real. But reality cannot be masked forever. When trials come, when pressure rises, the truth will surface. To men, do not be deceived by appearances. A woman who claims virtue yet lives in opposition to it will only bring disorder to your life. Observe how she treats those who can do nothing for her. Watch how she behaves when no one is praising her. Does she practice the discipline she preaches? Or does she wear a mask that will one day fall away? To women, this is a call to reflection. Are your actions aligned with the virtues you claim to uphold? True integrity cannot be faked indefinitely. Wisdom, discipline and character must be cultivated daily. The woman who truly walks in virtue does not need to convince anyone. Her actions make it undeniable. In the end, no mask can withstand the test of time. Sign number 3. She chases pleasure but loses herself. A life without discipline is a life without direction. A woman who lacks self-control, who lives only for pleasure, is not free. She's enslaved to her own desires. Seneca once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The same applies to women. True freedom is found in mastery over one's impulses, not in reckless indulgence. A woman who prioritizes pleasure above all else, whether through excessive drinking, partying, or the endless pursuit of excitement, does not seek wisdom or virtue. She seeks escape. Her mind is not steady, nor is her heart rooted in discipline. She follows the philosophy of the world. Live for the moment. Do whatever feels good. You only live once. But the Stoics, like all great thinkers, warned against this mindset. Epictetus reminds us, freedom is the control of yourself. If a woman is ruled by external pleasures, she's not in control. Her desires are. We live in an age that glorifies excess, where indulgence is mistaken for happiness, and where recklessness is praised as liberation. But those who chase fleeting pleasures often find themselves empty, restless, and lost. A woman who cannot master herself will eventually destroy not just her own life, but the lives of those closest to her. Her relationships will suffer, her mind will remain in turmoil, and her spirit will never know peace. To men, be cautious. Aligning yourself with a woman who does not value self-discipline will lead you into the same chaos she invites into her own life. A partner should challenge you to grow, not pull you into a cycle of distractions and indulgence. Look for a woman whose mind is steady, whose actions reflect purpose, and whose joy comes not from temporary highs, but from the quiet strength of self-mastery. To women, if you recognize yourself in these words, do not take offense. Take it as an opportunity to reflect. True strength is found in restraint, in the ability to choose what is right over what is easy. The pursuit of pleasure is not inherently wrong, but when it becomes the center of one's life, it leads only to ruin. A disciplined mind, a steady heart, and a life of intention, these are the marks of a woman who is truly in control. Sign number 4, she rejects order and defies rightful authority. Every system, whether in nature, society, or the household, functions best when there is order. A woman who constantly resists structure, who challenges rightful authority not out of wisdom but out of pride, invites disorder into her life and the lives of those around her. The Stoics taught that true freedom does not come from endless defiance, but from understanding and aligning oneself with the natural order of things. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, does the sun try to do the moon's work, or the river attempt to be the mountain? Each has its role. Follow yours. Submission is often misunderstood. It is not about weakness, nor is it about blind obedience. It's about trust, humility, and wisdom. Every well-functioning system requires leadership and cooperation. Just as a ship needs a captain, a home or relationship thrives when each person understands their role. A woman who rejects this balance, who refuses to follow any structure beyond her own desires, creates unnecessary conflict. She resists, not because she seeks truth, but because she is unwilling to surrender control. This is not a call for blind submission to unworthy leaders. Wisdom requires discernment, but rejecting all forms of guidance is not strength, it is arrogance. Epictetus warns us, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. A woman who believes she needs no guidance, no structure, no leadership, ultimately isolates herself. She may believe she is asserting independence, but in reality, she is cutting herself off from wisdom, growth, and stability. History is filled with examples of those who, in their refusal to acknowledge order, brought ruin upon themselves. The Stoics emphasized that resisting what is natural leads only to suffering. A woman who cannot respect rightful authority, whether in relationships, in family, or in society, will struggle to build a life of peace. She will create division instead of unity, discord instead of harmony. To men, be wary. A woman who resists all forms of leadership and constantly challenges authority will bring unnecessary strife into your life. Leadership is not about control, it is about responsibility. A wise woman understands this and does not see submission as oppression, but as part of the structure that allows a relationship to thrive. Observe how she handles guidance. Does she seek wisdom, or does she resist simply for the sake of control? To women, reflect on the nature of true strength. Power is not found in endless defiance, but in the ability to discern when to lead and when to follow. Those who reject all authority do not gain freedom. They become slaves to their own pride. Sign number 5. She manipulates with charm and enticement. There is a difference between natural beauty and calculated seduction. A woman who uses her appearance, words and actions to manipulate others is not seeking connection, she's seeking control. Seneca once said, "He who is controlled by his desires is no master of himself." A man who falls for such a woman is not making a choice. He is being led, ensnared by illusion rather than reason. Manipulation often starts subtly, with a glance, a suggestive word, or carefully orchestrated vulnerability designed to provoke admiration or lust. Social media has amplified this, turning seduction into a game where attention is currency and self-worth is measured by validation. A man who values beauty over character risks being deceived, seeing only what he wants to see. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about them." The same applies to desire. If left unchecked, it blinds reason. Just as Delilah seduced Samson into surrendering his strength, a man ruled by attraction alone loses his wisdom and direction. To men, beware of a woman whose greatest power lies in her ability to captivate rather than to build. To women, true influence does not come from seduction, but from character. In the end, what matters is not how many eyes are drawn to you, but how many minds and hearts you elevate. Sign number 6. She neglects her responsibilities and rejects her role. A home is more than just a shelter. It is a foundation for stability, discipline, and order. A woman who disregards her role in maintaining this balance does not act from strength, but from neglect. The Stoics taught that every individual has duties that, when embraced, lead to harmony. Seneca reminds us, "A kingdom founded on injustice never lasts." The same applies to a household. A woman who neglects her responsibilities weakens the very structure meant to sustain her and those around her. Being a keeper of the home does not mean confinement. It means stewardship. It means cultivating an environment where peace, discipline, and wisdom thrive. A woman who rejects this, choosing instead to chase distractions, entertainment, or fleeting ambitions, is often avoiding the deeper work of building something meaningful. The Stoics emphasized that external disorder is often a reflection of internal chaos. A woman whose home is neglected, whose life is filled with restlessness, is often one who has not mastered herself. Epictetus put it simply, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen." A stable and well-ordered life requires patience, discipline, and care. This is not to say a woman must limit herself only to household duties, but she must recognize the significance of maintaining a strong foundation. A home is not just a physical space. It is a reflection of a person's priorities, character, and sense of duty. Throughout history, societies have thrived when the home was honored and deteriorated when it was neglected. A woman who constantly seeks escape, who prioritizes external distractions over internal structure, invites instability into every aspect of her life. To men, observe how a woman approaches responsibility. Does she create order, or does she bring disorder? Does she cultivate a space of wisdom and purpose, or does she allow chaos to take root? A woman who understands the value of stability will build a life that reflects it. To women, consider what your home represents. It is not just where you live. It is a reflection of your discipline, your priorities, and your mindset. Do you foster a space of peace and growth, or have distractions taken precedence over what truly matters? The wise understand that true fulfillment is not found in chasing every fleeting desire, but in mastering the role they have been given. In the end, a home is only as strong as the one who keeps it. Sign number 7. She indulges in lust and seeks power through temptation. There is a profound difference between confidence and calculated seduction. A woman who uses her body, movements and presence to incite lust in others is not seeking connection, she is seeking control. The Stoics warned against the dangers of unchecked desire, not just for those who fall into its trap, but for those who wield it as a weapon. Seneca reminds us, "Nothing is so deceptive as pleasure. Though it pretends to be agreeable, it betrays as it fades." A woman who builds her sense of worth on how much attention she can command is not empowered. She is enslaved to a fleeting and destructive illusion. Throughout history, the misuse of seduction has led to downfall. The tale of Herodias's daughter, whose dance led to the execution of John the Baptist, is a stark reminder of how lust clouds judgment. A man overtaken by desire loses his reason, just as a woman who relies on seduction loses her dignity. What seems like a moment of power, holding another captive through attraction, is ultimately hollow. When beauty fades, when the attention disappears, what remains? This same spirit is alive today. Whether in nightclubs, on social media, or even in casual interactions, the use of physical allure to gain influence is celebrated. But what is truly gained? Epictetus warns, "What is truly yours, what no one can take away, is your virtue." If a woman relies solely on seduction, she invests in something that time, circumstance, and even mere distraction can strip away. True influence comes from wisdom, discipline, and integrity, not from fleeting attraction. To men, be mindful of what you allow to captivate you. A woman who leads with seduction and lust is not offering love. She is offering a momentary illusion. What appears as pleasure often leads to deeper enslavement. A man ruled by his desires is easily led astray, just as Samson was by Delilah, losing his strength and purpose in pursuit of a fleeting temptation. The wise man disciplines his passions, never allowing them to dictate his actions. To women, reflect on the kind of power you seek. Do you wish to be admired for your wisdom, or simply desired for your appearance? True beauty is not in how much attention you can command, but in the strength of your character. When your presence inspires virtue rather than temptation, you hold a power that no passing glance can take away. The woman who masters herself is the one who commands the deepest respect. As we reflect on these 7 signs, one truth becomes clear: discernment is power. The wise do not judge by charm or appearances, but by the fruit of a person's actions. Seneca once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." The same applies to relationships. Prepare yourself with wisdom, and you will not fall into ruin. To the men, choose wisely. A woman's true nature is revealed not in what she says, but in how she lives. Seek character, not mere attraction. To the women, if you recognize yourself in any of these traits, see this not as condemnation, but as an opportunity for growth. Master yourself, and you master your future. Which of these signs stood out to you the most? Comment: wisdom over deception. If this message resonated with you, like, subscribe, and share so others can grow in wisdom too. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and join me in the next video as we uncover more truths that can shape your life for the better.